Right, well, welcome to Worst of 2018. You can go check out the best of 2018 to hear far more positive things, but this is the negative side of things. Where we did a tongue-in-cheek, of course, where we kind of look at some of the shitty things that happened in rock and metal this year. There's been a number of things, number of albums, releases, things just happening.
Yep.
You got one to start off with then? Do you want to roll with?
Let's start with albums, shall we?
Okay, yeah.
Let's do a few albums that were disappointing.
Disappointing?
Or just shit.
Yeah.
Some of them were disappointment, some were just shit.
Yeah.
I'll start off with probably a little bit of an abstract one, actually. It came out right back in January this year, 2018, by a band called Leaves Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember reviewing a single of theirs prior to the album coming out, so it was in the 2017 kind of area, and really liking it. It's got female vocals, it's symphonic, but it's very, very, very folk. And because of that, I'm quite excited for the album to come out. And the album was called Sign of the Dragon Head.
That's right, yep.
German, Norwegian symphonic metal band. And I don't know, maybe I built it up too much in my head, man, but when I listened to it, fuck me, this shit. It was really disappointing. It was so boring and bland, and it was like just the same thing on every song. And they seem to suffer from this thing that we're going to call it the Nightwish syndrome. Where the female singer is fantastic, but for some reason the guitarist keeps barking, and his voice is dire. And it's like every now and then it's just like, the female singer's singing and he keeps coming in, and it's like, just stop him, and the song will be better. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why is, I think he's the founder of the band as well.
Right.
So I don't know if it's a case of like, I want to sing too. That's why I call it the Nightwish syndrome.
The Nightwish syndrome, yeah, no, that's fair dues, yeah.
I mean, it was a shit start for me for the year, because it was like probably the band that I knew the least about, that I was most looking forward to at the beginning of the year. It was like, because that single was awesome. Can't wait, a couple of weeks and the album's out. Then when it came out, it was just like, fuck you. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first disappointment.
What else?
Oh, sticking on albums.
Might as well, yeah, keep it going.
Okay. A lot of people quite like this.
Go on.
But I didn't, which was Anvil's new album.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I can't even remember the name of it now, to be honest, and I didn't write it down. I just remember, obviously they're a Canadian thrash, I think they're Canadian, thrash band. Been around for a long time, quite popular. I listened to their album and it was just like such generic weak bollocks, to be honest with you. I really didn't like it. That was it.
I
didn't check them out as a fan of Anvil. I checked them out as I know this name, they're a big name. About time I listened to some of their stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I came out of it just thinking like, okay, what the fuck, man.
I've never been a fan of Anvil. Like a lot of people, I watched the Anvil film a few years back, many years ago, and I thought it was nice and sweet, almost to a degree.
Yeah.
But that's about where it sort of stopped with me. I kind of thought, well, okay, is that enough to kind of back up the music? I never thought the music backed it up. It's like, well, maybe you're not big because the music isn't that good.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything that convinced me otherwise. I'll throw one out there then, and you've got plenty to say about this. Disappointments / worst of the year. Bullet for My Valentine's Gravity.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd tie this into Matthew Tuck as well.
Yeah.
Possibly the worst album of 2018?
It would definitely be my...
It'd be up there, wouldn't it?
It'd be my worst or my joint worst.
Yeah, top
It'd
3.
be one of the two.
Top 3.
I didn't... I reviewed it, and I reviewed it quite positively, because I was really trying not to just be, oh, look at me hating on this band.
Yep.
And so I picked out... There are moments in songs where, oh, that riff's okay, or this is okay, and all that. I remember... And when I say reviewed it positively, it's like I didn't give it a 0. But I hated so much of it. I really did. There is... The thing with it came out before he said what he said.
Yep.
But him saying what he said, which we'll talk about anyway, compounded it.
Yes, it didn't. Yeah.
Whereas I disliked it immensely when it came out, I hated it after he spoke.
Yeah, because he just added more fuel to that fire.
So him coming out and basically saying that they had no choice really but to make a record like this, because there's nothing left in the world of rock and metal. Rock and metal's dead. Mm-hmm.
Well, you could say boring or something.
Yeah, bland, boring.
Yep.
And then you think like, yeah, but you can affect that.
Yeah.
You could have released an album that blew everybody away and therefore instantly uplifted rock and metal in your eyes.
Yep. But instead you went for this.
I mean, forgetting simply about the fact that he's so fucking wrong. We know he's wrong.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you look at our best of 2018,
Oh, yeah.
we'll all know he's wrong. I mean, we have a top 50 albums each. Which,
Easily.
you know, if we had pushed it, we could have extended to top 60, 70, 80.
100.
God knows.
Yeah.
You know? And these aren't us stretching for 50
No,
albums.
not at all.
We're
Not
struggling
at all.
to choose which ones to leave out.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many fucking good albums out this year. It's been a great year for rock and metal. And then they come out and they release a drab album, get grief for it being drab, and then try and defend it, going, well, you're all just too close-minded to understand that we have no choice but to change. Well, you know, your genre's dead. Oh, God, if he was here now, that bottle would go around his head.
Well, I wouldn't condone the bottling. We would have words to say to Matthew Tuck about his opinions. And, you know, we said it actually ages ago. I think it might be one of the podcasts where we said, simply put, it applies to him and everyone that says rock and metal's dead or rock and metal's not dead anymore. You're just not looking. You've chosen not to look.
Yeah.
You've
And
made
you
a
know,
conscious decision.
You know, it's an awful lot worse when it comes from a person who's in a band in the rock and metal genre, because if it's dead, then that's partly your fault.
Yep.
Because you're in that fucking genre.
You have some responsibility.
Yes. So if you really think that, I mean, how many albums have they had out? 5?
This is, 5 or 6, yeah.
So if you think rock and metal's dead and you've released 5 albums into that genre, then it's your fucking fault.
Yeah.
Dick.
Love it. Talking about changing and moving away from fan base, this might be a bit an odd one, but I decided to review Fall Out Boy's new album this year because I thought, yeah, cool, you know what, it's been a while, it'd be good to have a review, and shit, we always say this, we love when our mind changed.
Yeah.
I went in without knowing anything. What I found out afterwards, obviously, also similar to Bullet for Band compounded the issue, but basically, Fall Out Boy are almost a different band to what you remember. If you're thinking of a pop-punk band, whoa, they are not that anymore. And basically, it's because they want to be stadium sellers. They want to be that. So we are looking at way more of a fucking mainstream pop band than you've ever seen in your life before. Barring 1 or 2 tracks, which I think I said in the album review, I was like, that's just like a nod to like try and hold on to some of the fan base that existed once before.
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah, but wow, like I've never seen a band change so fucking much than this. I'm never a fan, so it wasn't like they were on my radar. And you say, well, why are you reviewing something you know you're going to hate? I don't plan to hate, I want to enjoy.
Yeah.
And go check out the positive videos.
We might be wrong.
Where I talked about Andrew WK and how my mind was changed on that. And I want to be wrong, but Fall Out Boy didn't just prove me right. They proved me they didn't prove me right because I wasn't expecting this, and at the end of it, I was like, holy shit! Like, is this gonna work? Is this worth abandoning your entire fan base? Because even like the Kerrangs had very little positive to say about this new direction because it isn't us. After this, I said I will never review another Fall Out Boy record unless I hear that they've gone backwards to their old sound.
Yeah.
Because this is not us. This is not an album for us. I shouldn't even reviewed it, to be honest. I probably should have just left it.
Yeah. If you put the time and effort into listening to the fucking thing,
that's kind of it.
You just want to write.
Yeah.
You know?
And like I said, there was 1 or 2 tracks that were at least a bit peppy, pop punkish kind of thing, pop rock. No punk in this at all. But yeah, so that's kind of like, that's one of the, along Bullet for Valentine, one of the biggest changes in a band I've seen this year. But if we continue in disappointment, how disappointment was Dimmy Borgir's new album, Eonian?
Yeah.
What a disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think either of us expected great things.
No, I don't know what I expected from it, to be honest. I probably didn't really go into it with any expectations. It was just let's see then.
Yep.
You know, and it was just a mess.
Yeah.
I think that's what I remember the most about it. The kind of lines of what I was writing, stuff like throw as much shit as you can at the wall and see how much sticks. You know, and unfortunately in this case, not much of it's sticking. It's all sliding down the wall into a big pool of mess at the bottom that doesn't really make any fucking sense.
That's good.
You know, it's very. I remember, like, because of the style of music it has moments that lead you towards like optimism, like maybe a big fanfare and choir at the start, and you think it's gonna go, gonna go, but no song does it. It never does. It never does. It's a very, very poor album.
Yeah.
Very boring, very bland. Considering how much shit they threw at it, how much multi-genre kind of nonsense they threw at it.
Yeah.
How did you come out of that being boring?
Yeah, boring is such a great term to use for
being
it.
confused.
Yeah.
Could be something, but they managed to come out boring.
Yeah.
But one that I was very disappointed about this year, and this is a bit of a strange one to be disappointed about because it's almost my own fault for getting myself too hyped up for an album that I knew nothing about.
Right.
Purely, I think at the time I was probably very much on a bit of a power folk charge, looking forward to listening to a lot in that area.
Okay.
And then
I'm smiling.
I listened to an album called Barbarians in Black
by
Armored Dawn.
Yeah, I know it, yeah.
I didn't really know much about them, but I remember reading articles about them and how they were on this huge surge of popularity. Just been signed to a label, been snapped up, this massive beast of a band from Brazil. Only formed in like 2014, and all of a sudden they were on a label and everything like that. And all of that hype got to me. I got infected by it, and I listened to it, and I was just it was so fucking boring again. I mean, I've got my review here in front of me, and I like my last part of this review, which kind of summed up my summary of the album, where I basically say, where are I? Right, so I say it was basically boring. Everything sounds like it's meant to be somewhere else. That's pretty much how my whole listening went. Little moments of hope quickly dashed behind forgettable songs. I probably sound quite harsh. I expected so much based on their sudden rise in huge popularity. Personally, I think the band could have tried a little harder. You can tell by the good moments in songs they have talent, but this album sounds like they were being very comfortable. And in a genre that could do with some new blood, Armored Dawn have released an album that lacks pomp, flair and imagination of the bands already leading the charge. So there you go.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Yeah. Talking about disappointment, in a different kind of way. Now, leading up to this album's release, I heard all the fuss. Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I'd heard all the fuss. I'd heard a number of things. On one hand, I was hearing two different things. One, I was hearing the second coming of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And the other, I was hearing the rip-off of Led Zeppelin. So the album came out, and I remember where I was. I was coming off a night shift, and I was at Queen's Park waiting for my train, and I was like, oh, cool, it's out today. Let me give this a go. Now, I am not a Led Zeppelin fan. In fact, I will controversially say I think one of the most overrated bands in the entire world. But I know them well enough that when this started playing, I went, wait, what? Checked.
Yeah.
And was like, okay. And then I carried on listening. I think it's actually, I like the album. I don't love it, I like it.
Yeah.
But holy fucking shit. There's being inspired, and then there's just being a fucking tribute band. If they make it big, and I'm worried they're gonna make it big, off this needs to be called out. Because I'm in the camp of, whoa, this is scary, this is too close. Like, yeah, I don't like it. I think it's negative that they managed to sell out 2 nights at the Forum in this country in a row.
Yeah.
2 nights in a row.
There's some huge names as well now coming out in the not defence so much, but I read recently an article where Slash had come out and said, like, the future of rock.
Yeah.
Are Greta Van Fleet.
It's worrying because I don't like it. I find it too close, people. I find it way too close. And if you're a big fan of the band, tell me I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like, oh, we were inspired. It seems like we want to sound like that. That's a worrying thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit album.
Yeah. Black Veil Brides.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't listen to this because I know I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to comment on it.
Well, simply put, I went in first Black Veil Brides I'd ever really first Black Veil Brides album I'd ever really given time to.
Right.
And the idea was, okay, well, they're obviously popular. Why are they popular? And going off this album, I couldn't understand why they were popular. Like, because all I heard was blandness. Bland, boring ass shit. It's not even like, like, they're untalented or they're rubbish or this, whatever. It's like you're using all of that stuff to create nothing music.
Yeah.
Music that I can't even say would be good for radio. Because it's just so nothing.
Did you turn the radio off if they came on?
Well, it's just like, oh, that's all you've got.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it? What's the fuss, basically? And that was yeah.
That's almost more disappointing sometimes, isn't it?
That's what it was.
It's like it's just not even worth having an opinion on.
Yeah, it almost is like that. Where it's like, I can't even say I hate this album.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, this is an album.
Let's put that away and not listen to that ever again.
Yeah.
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 Probably, possibly the last one that I'm going to touch on.
Okay.
I'll leave the best for last, which is Ghost, the album of the year in many people's eyes.
Good timing because I wanted to talk about Ghost too.
One of my worst albums of the year.
Yep.
Now this for me isn't a surprise because as everyone who knows me knows, I don't like Ghost. I'm not like a complete pig-headed fool about it. I'm aware they're popular.
Yeah.
I have seen them live at Buzzstock. I did enjoy it. You know? So I'm not like, I'm not going to pretend that Ghost have no talent or anything like that.
Yep.
But I've never really been a fan. I listened to Prequel.
Yep.
I gave it a good go. And it does nothing for me. In fact, if anything, large portions of it at least, not all of it, like large portions of it, I find worse than the stuff I've heard before. You know, so like I didn't like them before, but I wouldn't go into this. There are a couple of songs in there, I can't remember them all, that I liked better. I think Rats wasn't, there were parts of Rats I didn't mind. No, that's the bit I hate.
Rats.
And what's the... Oh, and but some of it.
Dance Macabre. It's gonna be done. You probably
I'm trying to think of the song that I got called out for. I just wanted
to
be, Bewitch You.
It was Dance Macabre, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Where I was very aware of the fact that he says bewitch.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of that, but that wasn't the reason I hated it. It wasn't because I thought he said be with. It was nothing to do with that at all.
You just it's
the
not...
two words aren't the reason I hate that song. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
If it had been changed, it'd been like, oh, actually, that was a good song.
But Rats isn't a bad song. I don't like that chorus. I hate that little bit. But it's not a terrible song.
No.
So you know that's me just trying to prove that I'm not being purposely I hate Ghost. But outside of that, this album I think would be up. If I had to rank Ghost albums, it would be terrible for me to do. That'd be like my worst job ever.
Yeah.
This would be the worst one I've heard so far, and I have listened to it all to try it out, and this is the worst one I've heard. So there you go.
Well, I want to add more weight to what Brendan just said there because I am a Ghost fan, a big Ghost fan. In fact, in Festivism and
oh yeah. I was wondering what you were doing there as well.
Album,
Meloria.
Both on their releases were my number one albums of the year. In the years where they were released, they were my albums of the year, both of them. Prequel did not even scratch my top 100.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Yeah.
However, the fuss that I see people saying about it, I am well puzzled about. Because for me, it's the third best Ghost album out of 4. Only better than the original, not better than the next two. Because there's a lot of negatives about it. I don't agree with people naming it as the best album of the year. I find that simply astonishing. Astonishing.
I find I'm quite offended by it.
Yeah,
I genuinely am, especially when it comes from people that are often seen as peers of the metal community, and you think like this is you have an opportunity to influence people to listen to new music here, and this is what you do.
Yeah, it's not that for me at all. Like I said, I'm a big fan. And you know you can say what's oldest to people's opinions, but I'm going to say something slightly controversial. Particularly coming from our, as you would say, peers. You know when you start to think, is it though? Or are you just making sure you hit your wagon to the right horse here?
It could be. But, you know, I struggle with, I could be wrong in this, right? I don't see Ghost ever being any bigger than they are at this current moment.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. They're going to release another album in 2 years' time or a year's time or whatever it might be. And that'll be their fifth album.
Fifth album, yeah.
I mean, they're a fair chunk into their career at the moment, and they're big. They're not. I'm not trying to make out they're not a big band, but they're not going to be the next Metallica.
Nope.
Or even the next fucking Slayer, or they're not a band that I see still existing in 40 years' time, doing comeback tours and stuff like that. I don't think they are. I think Ghost are, for me. And I know it's easy to say when you don't like a band. They've hit their peak.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to go higher. I think they're going to come down. I think the buzz will die. I do. So I agree with what you're saying about people like, trying to make sure they're in the right camp and all that sort of stuff. But I think they're making the wrong choice. Because surely if I'm going to hitch my horse to anything, I'm going to hitch it on a horse that's going up that way.
Yeah.
Not on one that's coming down that way. See,
I find it really interesting because it's hard for me to judge as well. I actually kind of agree with you on certain points. I don't know what size Ghost are because I want to see them. They haven't tested themselves in our country yet. The venues they've chosen to play, including the last one, were places they could. I want Ghost. I want to see where the land lays by Ghost coming back here in our country and going for an arena.
Yeah.
Go for a Wembley, and let's see how you do. That would be a big. Now, if they sell at Wembley, we're both wrong. We're wrong. They're big.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bigger than we thought. But would they, or will it be Brixton next? And if they're like, oh, we sold at Brixton, I'm going to be a bit like, yeah, but so do many, many other bands. You know, I'm not sure if that's. I do agree with you. To me, it feels like they may have. Right. I think the problem is for me, this album should have been the game changer to push them on. And I think it's already out in a couple of months. The hype's going to die down, as it already is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Once these albums of the years are out of the way and stuff like that, what happens next?
Well, that's the thing, and this is one of my biggest reasons for disliking Ghost, because the way that they then, it doesn't necessarily drive sales, but it drives attention, is that there'll be a big media campaign about a reincarnation or the return of Papa Emeritus.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what it will be. It'll be that thing, and then everyone will be excited by Ghost, and they'll be like, "Oh, Ghost are back, and Papa Emeritus is back," and do you know what I mean? It's all about that.
Yeah.
And actually, when the album comes out, if you can just drop all the bollocks, and listen to the album fairly, and that's what I'm trying to do, because that's why I'm not just sitting there going, "Oh, I hate it."
Yeah.
I'm trying to be fair on it, you know. But a large part of the Ghost train, for me, the Ghost wagon that everyone jumps on, is all the media bollocks, all the marketing and the clever costumes, and I'm not dissing for that. It's clever, well done, you know. But that's not necessarily reflected in the music for me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think the album, the output deserves all that hype beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's because of all of that people know. That's why Ghost are as big as they are.
Yeah.
Not because their albums are the most amazing albums in the world, but because they
market themselves.
They market themselves well. They are marketed well by mainstream media. It's force fed down everybody's fucking throat so much more than so many other bands. You know, a Ghost album coming out gets a year's worth of marketing.
It does, yeah.
You know,
it does. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say that, you know, it's not a bad thing to do that. Other bands should try and catch up, you know. However, for all of that fuss to then get what I think is like quite a weak album, you know, I struggle to think like how long you can do it for. How long are people gonna? How many more albums can you reincarnate this guy for before people get bored with the gimmick?
Well, particularly now,
people do.
Particularly now as well, as it's no longer a secret who is behind the person. That's all out. That's open. He talks as himself. Obviously, there's been I wouldn't say high profile, but fairly profile court case that's still ongoing.
Yeah.
What's it called? Yeah. So like again, it's like now you know it's an act. Do you see what I mean? Like before we knew it was an act.
But
like, now we know
there was almost as much hype about who he was.
Yeah.
You know, as anything else. But that's all kind of died. But I just think people are fickle. I'm fickle. Everyone's fickle.
Yep.
And I think 3 or 4 albums of this masks and character changing and everything like that people can deal with. I don't think they do that for 8 or 10 or 12.
Particularly when age comes, because look at Slipknot. They sort of changed.
Yeah.
And changed them and sort of revealed themselves as who they were to much adapt the fact that they were getting older and couldn't do what they could do when they were teens and things like that, you know?
So yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, it's a Ghost rant as one of that pops up regularly on this, but I think it's justified. It's a negative of 2018. Ghost overall as a negative of 2018, I believe.
I think
and that's unfortunate.
I think the big it's unfortunate for you. For me, it's almost like told you.
Yeah.
But a little bit of me is the big negative for me on it is not even anything that Ghost have done. It's just the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, the album's not that great, so we all just stop like telling everyone that it's the best album in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the negative, man.
It's not. Yeah.
You know, there's so many good albums out there. Push them a bit.
Right, we're going to move on from Ghost and we're going to talk about 2 bands that have gone on official hiatus this year. Both in a negative stance, although one's more positive than the other, but still not great. First, you probably won't give a flying fuck about was the Devin Townsend project. Oh, Dev.
Well,
not going to do that for a while.
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird thing though, isn't it? Right? I like Devin Townsend, of course I do. You can't like metal and not at least respect the guy.
Yeah.
You know, the Devin Townsend project being on hiatus doesn't really mean anything because he'll just be doing stuff as himself or with other bands anyway.
It's true.
I mean, he's doing, isn't he? He's doing some solo kind of evenings with.
Yeah.
I think this year. I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
In the
Yeah.
UK, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a strange one. It's like if you have 10 bands and you put one of them on hiatus, it doesn't. It's not like Devin Townsend's going away.
No,
it just means you'll see him in different forms. It probably means he's putting that on hiatus because he's got to concentrate on another project. So you're still going to get Devin Townsend music, but just in another form.
But Devin Townsend's music is the Devin Townsend project. Is, you know, he's always been differences between his styles. You know, you compare the Devin Townsend project to Strapping Young Lad or Cadillac of Cool. You know, that's the only worry is that, like, okay, so you want to go off and start doing some classical stuff, you know.
But it's not like a typical hiatus. You know, where like a band you love goes on hiatus, and that just means you're not going to hear from them for a few years.
No, it's true.
And that's why it's like, I agree. I can see why people who are huge fans of the Devin Townsend project might be upset that that's going on hiatus. But it's strange in that, you know, it's not like he's going anywhere.
Yeah, it's Devin Townsend, the man.
He's pretty involved in God knows how many bands next year, or how many releases will come out that he guests on or features on, or or completely produces and does himself.
I presume he sleeps with a pencil on a pad,
like
that, and just writes in his sleep, because the dude seems to be prolific as fuck, you know?
Probably just that he has like 12 young people sit around his bed at night, so while he mumbles in his sleep,
they record that
shit.
Write
it all down.
That's great. The other one that's gone on hiatus, because although it's not officially worded hiatus, it is a hiatus, and it's probably one of the biggest negatives of the year, is Machine Head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do we even start this off? We've talked a lot about it, but ultimately, you know, the writing, I guess now hindsight's a funny thing. The writing could have been on a wall based off catharsis, and it never seemed like there was a unified Machine Head positivity about that. Rob particularly was always on the defence about that album. Although I think it mostly was well received in the media. I think there was a lot of negativity about it, and there was always a lot of defence of it.
Yeah.
But only ever from Rob. I wouldn't expect anything from Jared, but like Phil, and I think this is in hindsight as well.
Yeah.
Phil and Dave, not that they were ever that vocal anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. It's quite hard to pick it out because, you know, you go back to any of the previous albums. At what point has Phil, Dave...
No, but...
Even Adam beforehand ever come out and made a statement about
No, it's not so much making statements. It's more the fact that they always seem to be in a back foot. And it seemed like the Evening With thing, while, again, people were happy with, again, this time I think there was more pushback on it.
Yeah.
Including us. We said, perhaps not this time, guys. You know, and so on. And obviously it all led to the announcement that Dave McClain and Phil Demmel were leaving Machine Head, which originally, like I said, like we've talked about this in the Machine Head, 10 things we love and 10 things we hate. Rob handled that very poorly.
Yep.
Announcing death of Machine Head basically in one post, and then the next day it all being clarified as they were just leaving.
Yeah.
And then he went on this Freaks and Zeros final tour for Dave and Phil. Yeah. And now we're at this.
I mean, yeah, they were already on the tour, weren't they? They just rebranded it as in like a
farewell
tour. Yeah. It's a negative for me, obviously. Of course it is. The whole Machine Head splitting up is a negative. Any change in a band that I love is a negative. Yeah. You know, it was a negative when Adam left.
That's true.
Truth of it.
Yeah.
I don't really... It's one of those things, like, you're almost guessing... You have to kind of guess or estimate what happened.
We can just look at what's in front of us, and that's all we can do.
Yeah, and there isn't a lot in front of you, you know. I kind of appreciate the fact that Rob went probably within... Like, I imagine myself, if I was in his shoes, how I would feel 10 minutes after Phil and Dave had quit the band.
Yeah.
Now, okay, for me, I wouldn't go on Facebook. Would be the...
Yeah, isn't it the equivalent of sending an angry email?
It is exactly that, yeah. I mean, but you would probably feel like, shit, Machine Head is over. So I almost understand why that's how he probably didn't come out and say that as in, like, it was a lie. It was genuinely what he believed at that time.
Which is what he does, yeah.
However, what he did do is, like, obviously really, like, take over the media, metal media for, well, a couple of days at least before... Yeah.
Everything got kind of clarified,
like, well, actually, let's hold back on this a little bit. The sad thing for me is that just I really like Dave. I know that sounds like such a stupid thing to say because I like Phil too. It's not like Phil's not a cool guy or anything like that, but Phil isn't the first or even the fourth Machine Head guitarist. You know, whereas Dave's like that I've said before. It was always like Rob and Dave for me. That was it. I mean, it used to be Rob, Dave, and Adam, but then Adam left, who is Rob and Dave, and Phil's there and Phil's great. Jared's there and Jared's great. You know. but it's still it's just a band you like. Not I don't even. It's the thing. I don't even care so much now that you're splitting up. It's more about the fact that you like to think of your bands as this 4-piece tight unit. They're not just a band; they're all best buddies. They sit on the tour bus all day long together, holding hands, driving along, looking out the window.
They're not in separate hotel rooms. They're all in one big
one
double bed,
like top and tail, all the way down it. Phil, Rob, come in. You need to help wipe my bottom.
Yeah.
And they all just constantly happy, and that's the image. I think sometimes it's the image bands try to give you.
Yep.
This kind of unity. And what we do as fans is we forget that they're just people, and actually it's probably hellish. They probably do anything for some time away from each other, on the tour bus and everything like that. Yeah, and it shows like a bit of a reality about they're not impervious.
Yeah.
They have faults. They're just people, and you don't want them to be just people. You want to do more than that.
So do you feel a little bit betrayed that now Dave McClain has confirmed he will be returning to Sacred Reich, which is just another metal band ultimately?
Not betrayed, because I don't know what went down there. I feel a little bit more upset about it all because I was kind of over it.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit upset about it because now it leads me back towards thinking that my little dream in my head after all the rumours coming out about him going this way and going that way was, it was nothing to do with Rob. Everything was fine in the band. It was just that they wanted to change.
Yep.
And actually this kind of makes it sound like, well, there was a bit more to it than that.
Yeah.
It's probably that they had to change because of Rob.
Mm-hmm.
More so than, it might not be that they wanted to leave Machine Head. It might be that they felt they had to.
Yeah.
Which is what I didn't want. I wanted it to be all like, oh, never mind, happy days.
Yep. We're just moving on with our lives.
I just really, really want to, I've always wanted to be in Bros. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's going to go and do.
Yeah.
Or, I'm going to be the 4th member of Right Said Fred.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I don't care. It was nothing to do with Machine Head or Rob. It was to do with the fact that you wanted to change. The fact that you go into a not like for like band, but a similar-ish kind of band suggests that it was nothing to do with the metal. It was nothing to do with the music, the touring, anything like that. The speed of playing.
Yeah.
Because you're happy to go and do that somewhere else. It's purely about whatever it is in this camp.
Machine Head, yeah.
And that's the bit. That's my downside of 2018 with Machine Head, is it's now confirmed to me that there are more deeper problems in the Machine Head camp than a few guys who want to change.
Yeah. Just the final 2018 kick in the nads about Machine Head.
Yeah. Just have that Happy Christmas.
Yeah.
I just need a Rob fucking post now. That's all I need.
Yeah. Of course, it's a bit of a negative. Kind of talk about Machine Head, I guess, segueing into the fact that Phil Demmell's obviously now taken up the mantle in Slayer.
Yeah.
Obviously, Slayer announced that they would be wrapping up, ending their career over the next couple of years with a worldwide tour. Slayer are Slayer. They've been such a staple of our music that, to be honest, the thought of them not being... I don't even think it seems real. If you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, there will be a point, at some point, maybe in 2019, maybe 2020, where there will just be no more Slayer. That's just it. That they'll either settle down and white picket fences and happy houses and all start spitting at children, or they'll all go their separate ways into different bands. I mean, I can't see Kerry King not jumping in, starting up a new band or being in a band.
Yeah.
And the rest, I could see Tom probably retiring.
I'd say, it's strange, isn't it? They said they've just been around forever.
Yeah, just such a staple.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest being diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Basically, while not officially leaving the band, basically having no choice but to step aside. Yeah. While his replacement was Andy Sneap, who's a great guitarist. It
wasn't about guitar skill though.
Yeah.
It was about the fact he had to be replaced. Because he wouldn't have been otherwise. It's illness that's took him away from it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to fly through some deaths. I'm going to pull out some of the big ones that sort of jump into my eyes as I'm reading them from here. Who we got then? Mikiko Fujikiya, the guitarist of Baby Metal.
What's his name?
I'm not saying it again, but yeah, he died from injuries. He fell off an observation deck.
Yeah.
He was only 36.
I remember the story.
Yeah.
Quite well, actually. It's terribly sad, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing about the band, nothing about the music or anything like that. It's just he's 36 years old. Terrible accident.
Josh Martin, the guitarist of Anal Cunt, fell off an escalator, age 45, and died.
Yeah, I did. I'm trying to think of.
Didn't even see this story. I've just seen it here, and I'm like, whoa. I suppose we're the biggest one of the year, if we're talking about deaths, as if there's some sort of like competition. Vinnie Paul, obviously the drummer of Hell Yeah, former Pantera and Damage Plan. He died from what basically was an coronary artery disease at age 54.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest death of the year, I think.
Yeah. Massive impact.
Yeah, I mean, his impact, says it all.
Very
Even
sad.
if you're not a fan of Pantera or Hell Yeah and so on, it's like, everybody knows who Vinnie Paul was.
Vinnie Paul, man.
Yeah. Jill Janis. This is a rough one. Vocalist of Huntress, committed suicide at age 42. You can go see the positive review. We talked quite in depth about mental health in rock and metal and so on. And this is just an example, I guess, of where someone like I know Huntress, I know who Jill Janis was, and it was like, what?
Yeah.
You know? That was Ollie Herbert of All That Remains.
Yeah.
Died. It's a horrible. I've got to tell you how he died, folks. Died from drowning after taking antidepressants and sleeping aids. And age 44.
Yeah. That's it's shocking, actually, to be honest. It isn't shocking. That's the problem. It should be shocking, but actually, hearing the term now that some young person has killed themselves or died in an accident because of the same mental condition.
Yeah.
You know, it upsets me. It genuinely does upset me. It's like,
because I've just glossed over. There's a lot on this, and there are a lot of like, died because took this, died because I took that. You know, some of it's straightforward. People are dying of cancer. Heart attacks. Randy Rampage, former vocalist of Annihilator, heart attack, 58. Carlos Dienogian, Jesus Christ, drummer of Weed Eater, suffered an aneurysm. He was aged 30. He's fucking younger than me. Kyle Pavone, the vocalist of We Came As Romans, died of a drug overdose at age 28. It is a depressing list, folks. When you see it and you're like, it is.
look after each other, man. Look after yourselves.
Yeah, and of course, although it's not a star, talking about looking after each other and stuff like that, you know, obviously we had a fan die, Bring Me the Horizon only last month at an actual gig.
Yeah.
And I think it needs, we talked about the time and so on, but it needs sort of reminding, you ever see anyone in trouble, people in the pits? Pick up, help.
Yeah.
Look after, innit?
Help them out.
That's kind of killed it now, isn't it?
God.
Yeah. So how'd you kind of
myself now?
Yeah, like how'd you go into something like Laughy and sort of like
put that bloody Hollow Our Home album on and cheer us back up?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, at least on our front, ultimately, other than like, I didn't really want to touch upon it. Other than like bullshit stuff. There's a lot of bullshit stuff rather than stuff that just like negative.
Yeah.
And you go like, okay, well, Man of War. We're not, so we're clear, we're not discussing the big Man of War story. That is not for us to talk about.
Yeah. No interest in talking about anything that's still going on.
Absolutely, but we will talk about ultimately the bullshit stuff. And I guess the biggest negative ties into Man of War and overall is the big boys this year and next deciding that we'll just charge what we want for tickets.
Yeah.
And fuck what we're doing. And this ranges from
massive trend at the moment. That's the problem. Is like before it was just a thing that happened occasionally. Now it's become a trend.
Yep.
And that's the real negative. The negative is that now it appears that more bands are cashing in on the idea that they can charge extortionate prices for tickets.
Yeah.
And the worry for next year is that trend continues.
Yeah.
And more bands get on it.
Yeah.
And we already know ourselves being regular gig goers how empty venues can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the big bands, this is what I think happens, right? Making shit up now, all right?
Go on.
If you are a massive fan of Metallica and, for example, Mole.
Yep.
Okay? and you have 150 quid for tickets.
Yeah.
2 years ago, you go to both shows.
Yep.
Now you go to one.
Mm-hmm.
You go to see Metallica.
Yep.
And you don't go to the little shows anymore.
Yep.
Because your money goes on the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I think what happens is that when a big band charges a ridiculous price for a ticket, they still sell out.
Yep.
Right? And that's why they think it's okay.
Yes.
But I don't think you're actually really taking money out of the fans' pocket. I don't think you are. I've thought about this quite a lot recently.
Okay.
I think what you're actually doing is sucking money out of the smaller bands.
Yep.
Because the fans have a finite amount of money they can afford to spend on shows.
Yes.
Before, we could have spread that money out over 5 shows.
Yep.
Now it all goes on one.
Yeah.
It's the same money I'm spending whether I go to 5 or 1. The people that are losing are these 4 bands.
Yeah.
They can no longer afford to exist because no one's coming to their fucking shows.
Absolutely.
That, from a metal perspective, you know, looking at the whole community, is disastrous for us.
Yeah.
Because what happens is firstly they stop coming to the country, right? Because they're not selling tickets in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not a UK band, they stop coming here. If they are a UK band, they stop leaving.
Yep.
They stop coming to Europe or America or whatever like that. Because no one can afford to go and fucking see them because they spent all their money on whoever the biggest band is that's charging a ridiculous price.
Yep.
So the bands stop coming, and remembering that they basically make their money from touring. So what you start seeing is less and less bands making music.
Yeah.
So while at one side, newish bands are getting hit by streaming and the lack of people buying physical, not just CDs anymore, but, you know, physical anything.
Yep.
You start taking money out of the venues as well from them. I mean, that's the death of most of them.
Yeah, that's it done.
I mean, that you don't rock and metal to really be dead. Don't fucking prove Matt Tuck right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I thought about this quite a lot, and I think a lot of the time I thought you were ripping me off. But you're not ripping me off because I can choose to spend my money.
Yep.
And that's the thing. It doesn't matter to me. If you charge me £150, I just don't go. But I know their shows are selling out, so people are going.
Yes.
And is that why all these other venues are empty? Is that why we went to see Mole and Ghostbath to 20 people?
Yep.
Well, maybe 30, you know, but
yeah.
not much more than
yeah,
that.
you're pushing it at that, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you
Is
put
that
it...
because
So,
everyone's got £1,000 to spend this year, and that used to do 100 shows, but now it only does 10. So
I think
they save it for Slayer, and they save it for Metallica, and they save it for whoever's doing their last fucking farewell tour. Because I think that hurts people as well. These 3-year fucking farewell tours.
Yep.
And that's why, because it's a farewell tour, their prices are high.
Yep.
And everyone's like, well, we can't... I'm going to have to give them a miss because I need to spend your money on Slayer.
Yeah,
because
because it'll be the last time I see them. Forget that you might have seen them 10 times already.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so the ticket prices are a problem. I don't know how the problem gets fixed. But I think my thinking has just changed on who's getting hurt by it.
Yeah.
You know, more, whereas I used to before, I was like, you're trying to rip me off, but it's not that anymore. I just worry now about the industry, man.
Yeah, I mean...
on edge.
Yeah.
Nervous.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those debate conversations that could go on for fucking hours.
I mean, the simple question for you, right? Do you think Ghostbath and Mole would have played the Electro Works if they knew there were only going to be 30 people there?
I don't think they would have bothered.
Cancelled the show?
I don't think they'd have bothered.
They would have cancelled the show because it would cost them more in transporting their stuff there, paying their roadies, setting it up than they would have made from it.
Oh my god! Right, we have a great example of this. It literally happened this last week. Now I don't know. All right, I don't know if this is exactly what happened, but I pieced together bits because I was really interested. So Abigail Williams and the Infernal Sea were out on tour together, playing across the UK, and it was one London date, and it was at either the Boston Music Rooms or the Dome. Might have been the Dome, the one above. And at the last minute, we're talking on the day, it got cancelled. Just that show. And it was right mystery. And I believe Infernal Sea were quite vocal on social media saying that they it was something to do with the venue, and they were really sorry and stuff like that. And apparently last minute, and the venue swooped in, a New Cross Inn, and they went there and played. And I remember thinking, that's a real step down.
That's mad.
It's a real step
that's
down.
A pub.
And that's what made me realise
bloody pub.
this is because I reckon, and this is what I said, I could be completely wrong on this, but I don't think I am, truth be told. I think the Dome went, you've not sold enough tickets.
Yeah.
It's not worth us opening. We
got
paying the bar staff,
security.
We're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to be affordable.
Yeah.
And that's what happened because it wasn't a tour. It was just that one date, the London one.
Yep.
So that's why the New Cross Inn might have heard about it, read about it, and went, fuck, let's try and sort something out now.
Yeah.
And that's where it ended up happening. But if that's what happened, which I believe it is, because it all makes sense, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And that's what I'm saying. This is, I mean, we do quite a bit on this podcast, YouTube, website, everything that we touch on. We urge people to go to shows.
Yeah.
Constantly. I do not believe it is inflated ticket price for the big guys alone that are hurting the industry.
Nope.
However, I would back that up with saying, do you know what? Just for the future of the music that you love, if you want to see bands touring and you want to go and see them in the future and that, the only way they're going to keep coming is if you go to the shows.
Yeah.
It's not just about buying their music or streaming it. If you never go to their shows, they aren't making any money. The venues will stop booking them because the venues are making no money.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
We'll end up in a scene, right, where we don't really do tours anymore. So there are festivals, and that's what you do. You know, you get the big bands that go around.
Yeah.
And festivals.
Yeah.
And the little bands can't afford it, and you get maybe you get like pub shows every now and then where they don't really have to pay an awful lot to be there.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But if you think about seeing a band, like a small band from somewhere in Europe, come into the UK to do 4 or 5 dates up and down, one tour like that where they have 20 people turn out and they go back having lost 10 or 15 grand on each night is enough to make them think, I ain't coming back there next time.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
You know? And even if they wanted to, all of those venues are going to be like, I'm not sure about this,
Yeah.
guys. Or if you do want to come, you know, we're going to need you to inflate the price of this or that,
Yeah.
or the amount you give us.
Yeah.
I think we're like basically hurting ourselves, partially being hurt by the big guys. It's twofold, right? One, charging the ticket price is a massive thing. You know, we both hate that.
Yeah.
Right? Ridiculous fucking prices.
Ridiculous.
Doesn't matter how good the band are, how great they are. It doesn't matter. It should be a bar.
Yes.
You know. But secondly, I do think we're in a period of time at the moment where we are being constantly plagued by goodbye tours.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think that has a massive impact on it. I really do. I think people are more likely to go to a Slayer farewell tour than they are a Slayer tour.
Yeah.
Not to say that Slayer wouldn't sell well on their tour anyway.
True.
But I think farewell tour, people will be like, oh, I'll keep my money for that.
Yeah.
Keep my money for that. You know, and I think that hurts people.
Well, next year alone, we've got Ozzy doing no more tours. We've got Kiss, apparently.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
Slayer is still ongoing.
Slayer's still ongoing. Aerosmith are rumoured to be doing it. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if a couple more pop up.
And if you got all of them, right? And then you got the festivals.
Yep.
And then you got the Metallica shows as well. What other money have people got to spend on gigs?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's not.
We're not telling you how to spend your money, people.
No.
Spend it you will, but we're just saying start thinking about what you want going forward, because as Brendan said, there is danger here.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it more and more week by week, where it's kind of like, and like we mentioned earlier on in the Posit video thing about sort of these how a lot of the upcoming metal bands in the UK are from the north and all that, and it's like, of course they can't come to London. They can't come to London because they can't afford to come to London.
That's the other thing. I mean, and actually this can lead into another little negative here, is that we're lucky. We always say that we're lucky that we live in London because all the big bands come to us.
Yep.
But we're also unlucky in that the little bands don't.
Yeah.
Unless they're from the area or they get a little pub gig or maybe they get to support somebody a bit bigger.
Yep.
A lot of the time I will see a smaller band on their Facebook go, we're out on a UK tour, and I have a look and I go, no London.
All of it, yeah.
And I understand why. I'm not having a go at the bands for it. I completely understand why.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get a venue,
accommodation,
for a price that
everything.
you can afford. So I understand it. But, I guess if they felt they could go to a venue and if you're a little band and have 30, 40, 50 people in there, they might find a way to do it.
Yeah.
But the problem is now, I guess, the worry for them will be coming here and playing to like no one.
No one, yeah.
And all that money's just lost.
Yeah, yeah. He basically paid to play, which I mean already a lot of them have to do.
Yeah.
But like
But
seriously
limit,
paid. Yeah. There's a
you
limit.
You go to like, I don't know, Peterborough or Preston and pay X amount to play, and that's going to be tenfold in London.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, future of the scene is in the fans' hands, man. It always has been, and it always will be. And if we keep spending all of our money, and as much as I love them, but all of our money on Metallica every fucking year, and hoping that Metallica reduce the ticket prices, I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, you're right.
Ever.
Yeah.
And Metallica will be here every year, and then I don't know when it will be. No sign of it yet. There'll be a 5-year long farewell tour. And every time that we're pumping more and more money into that machine, the Metallica kind of industry, there are 100 bands trying to play at little venues with nobody there because everyone spent their money.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, we're not trying to tell people how to spend their money, but a little bit of me kind of is. It's just like, you know, if you want something, you kind of have to invest in it at its roots.
Yep.
So if you want bands in 50 years' time to be like Metallica, you got to go and see them today while they're small and let them grow.
Yeah.
If you ignore the whole bottom of it and just watch the top, at some point that top goes away, and there might be nothing left down there.
It's too late then.
You'd be like, oh, where's all the bands gone? All the people moaning, oh, who's the next challengers to people like Metallica? Well, they're all playing, you're just not there.
Yeah. You've chosen still to go see Metallica for the 15th time and so on, you know.
And then when they do fucking start playing, or like a Parkway Drive or something like that, you complain about it
Get bent out of shape over that.
I've accidentally turned that into a rant against fans. That wasn't the point. That was meant to be about the ticket price, but it is about the ticket prices. It's just about the difference now in my thinking about whose fault it is.
I think it's interesting. I think it's good. It's always an interesting debate. We should watch this space closely. That wraps it up then. We're not going to bore you anymore with shitty stuff for 2018. It's been bad enough already. But thankfully, I think that video, this audio recording and stuff was less than said a positive. You go watch the best of 2018. I think we had a lot more good. There's been a lot more good than bad.
Yeah.
A lot of bad and just stuff is out of our control as well. You know, deaths and splits or hiatuses, whatever you want to call them. Machine Head. But like 2019, if it continues as this year did, we'll be golden. At least for music, anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's already great plans.
Yes.
Shows, albums coming out, especially in February, March.
Yeah.
Watch out for February and March. If anybody comes out in February and March and tells anyone that rock and metal is dead, you have to have your fucking brain checked, honestly.
I think
like every band I know that are good are basically queuing an album up
for around that time. Yeah, and even earlier than that, January 11th, I think already, like January 11th is a date to watch out for, folks, for a release day. That's a good day.